Did you know that the first ever commercial bottling of Sauvignon Gris was a wine of origin Stellenbosch production, vinified by the pioneering winemaker Henry Kotze of Pilgrim wines? It was made available in South Africa for the first time by us, the HanDrinksSolo Wine Club. The fruit for this history-making wine came from the experimental nursery vineyards of Welgevallen, part of the University of Stellenbosch, which, according to Savis, is the only Stellenbosch Sauvignon Gris vineyard in existence. In South Africa, there really are only about 10 hectares of Sauvignon Gris, and 90% of that exists in the wine district of Robertson. In France, which is where Sauvignon Gris comes from, the most prominent plantings are to be found in Bordeaux. But really, this is a little bit of a tallest dwarf situation because the plantings only make up around 2%. That said, there are producers like Chateau de Bellevue in Saint-Emilion who do bottle a 100% Sauvignon Gris. Although they weren't the first ones to do that, that honor allegedly goes to Chateau Tour Saint Christophe, also situated in Saint-Emilion. Now we're discussing Sauvignon Gris because today's wine of the day is the HanDrinksSolo Heterocromia Sauvignon Gris, which, as we've said, is a HanDrinksSolo exclusive bottling and was vinified by the multi-award-winning winemaker Henry Kotze. While Sauvignon Gris' history is a little murky, it's believed to be a spontaneous While Sauvignon Gris' history is a little bit murky, it is believed to be a spontaneous mutation from Sauvignon Blanc, although the certainty on that matter is a little bit soft. What we can know for sure is that the cultivar had practically been obliterated from modern consciousness by a combination of Phylloxera and other factors until it was revived by the now famous vigneron Jacky Preys from the Loire Valley. His work producing some truly exceptional 100% Sauvignon Gris wines in a time when most people didn't even know what that was enough to single-handedly revive the cultivar, not only in France, but eventually in the entire world. In the New World, the most significant plantings of Sauvignon Gris are to be found in Chile, but California and New Zealand and Australia and now South Africa are all giving it a good go. Global waves or not, it still needs to taste good in the glass, and when we give it a sniff, well, one has to admit that there are a fair amount of fairly obvious sensory connections to Sauvignon Blanc. There are elements of elderflower, a little bit of lemongrass, some kiwi fruit perhaps, and also a little touch of minerally chalk, which is quite nice. And none of those would be out of place in a casual Savvy B. But then there's another layer of slightly more generous aromas, sweeter peach and some tropical melon, which hints that perhaps there's a little more substance to this wine. When we get into the glass and give it a sip, well, the first thing that pops up is that it's got really lovely palate weight and texture. There's almost a little bit of waxiness to it. And when we look at what the textbook says about Sauvignon Gris, this waxiness makes total sense because Sauvignon Gris grapes have a slightly thicker skin, a slightly pinky-grey color, and this thicker skin results in slightly richer, more textured wines than perhaps would be made from a Sauvignon Blanc grown in the same area. And when it comes to exactly what we taste, well, some of those aromas are pretty good hints. We do get those notes of tropical melon in there, as well as some lovely sort of fresh cut juicy oranges. And then there's a fascinating note which is almost like toasted marshmallow. I've only ever tasted that note on the Catarratto in Zolia wines from Salina, which is north of Sicily. So that in itself is truly fascinating to me, and what excites me most is to see how the quality of Sauvignon Gris is going to improve as South African winemakers begin to better vinify this cultivar when it's grown in a South African context. So if you enjoyed this video, then support us on Patreon so that we can make more of these sorts of videos, and subscribe to the HanDrinksSolo YouTube channel, where we publish at least 6 videos each month that talk about unusual cultivars like Sauvignon Gris, also wine history, wine science, and some of the rising winemaking stars that are coming out of the dynamic South African winelands.